Good morning. Welcome to the channel Grand Colombia and welcome back to Coffee Time Live. Assuming you've been here before, if you haven't, then welcome for the first time. And we'll start off with the weather. Okay, as you know, I'm always talking about how it rains in the afternoon or in the evening, and the daytimes are beautiful. Thank you, Mike. But of late, as I've mentioned, it's been raining a lot. We got a few days where it's nice. And the thing is, this is not the time of the year it's supposed to be raining a lot. Somebody asked me, well, when does it rain a lot? Okay, it's not something for sure, but typically it'll be towards the end of March, and then April and May, you get a fair amount of rain. That's one of the rainy seasons. July, it tends to be the driest, although it'll still rain a little bit, generally at night. And then when you get to the end of September, but into October and November, that's your second rainy season. So you get about 6 months of the rainy season. And the rainy season's not typically here. It's not typically during the day where Manizales it is. It's typically more in the afternoon or in the evenings when you're sleeping. But lately, it's like all bets are off. It's like I'm living in Manizales again. It just rains whenever it feels like it. So that's the weather. Got a few interesting things to talk about today, and then I have a surprise for you that will come in a little bit. Okay, first, let me look at these things. Still don't have the new glasses, but my haircut's holding up. Okay, Tony, good morning. Rob, good morning. How you doing, Rob? Phil, greetings from Emil's beautiful apartment. Incredible view. Yeah, it is quite a view. I'm watching in snowy, cold, windy Ontario, living vicariously through the Grand Columbia Channel. I hope you're not being imprisoned there by the fascist regime, but it is gorgeous here. I whine about the rain, but it's not raining constantly, and it's actually, it does bring a side benefit. I don't think we've gotten about over the mid 70. I mean, it's really been mild temperatures. Juka, thank you. I got your contribution to Alejandra, and I thank you. That's I think 3 now in the past month or 2, and I really appreciate it. And yes, she is receiving them. Mike, audio, video good. Awesome. I saw that earlier. Dan, greetings from Ibagué. Hello, how you doing? Craig, what's with the Korean flag? It is not the Korean flag. It is a symbol, but I get what you're saying. I will talk about that in a little bit. I had to take my girlfriend off the wall and put that up. Steve, greetings from El Centro, Armenia. It's like a growing infection here. What's going on with you guys? Good morning from Miami. What your thoughts on the Ukrainian-Russian conflict? Probably stay away from that on this channel. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I don't know. Maybe private channel. I don't know. I've been really busy, so maybe I won't even talk about it. I don't know if anybody really cares what I think about things. Good. This is an emoji. Good morning. Have a great Sunday from West Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you. When you put an emoji on what I read here, it doesn't show it. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Yeah, there. That's what I get. I get the description of the emoji. It's okay. All right. Okay, first of all, inflation. It's one of the topic of mind. People, if there's 2 or 3 things they ask me about, it'll be one of the 2 or 3 things. So a couple examples. As I've been out and around this past week, I thought I would just note a couple things. First, gasoline, because I know you guys have been struggling with gasoline prices where you are, and we're not. It's been a little increase. Right now, it works out to about $2.32 a gallon. That's up from about $2.20 before. Some of it is offset by the exchange rate, what it was before, what it is now, but in terms of our real money, that's what it is. I went to Boludo's a few nights ago, or a few after, was it lunch? Early, yeah, I think it was late afternoon. And I had the usual bife argentino. And when I first started going there, it was around 28,000 for the dinner. 28,000 pesos. It did bump up, I don't know, somewhere along the line, maybe a year later, to about 32,000 pesos. The exchange rate had gone up to a similar amount. It was maybe actually even more in my favor. Now it's up to 42,000 pesos, which with the higher exchange rate, that still comes out to about $10.63. So from about 2 years ago to now, it's about $1.88. And that doesn't sound like much, but that's almost 20% increase. And I am seeing that, like almuerzos that would have been 8,000-10,000. The new fairly consistent price I'm seeing around on sign is about 15,000. You know, it's still not bad, and the exchange rate is still in our favor. But it is, things like that are hammering people that live here. So it's an issue. So that's all I have on the inflation. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but they have repealed the mask mandate. The only time it comes up is if you go into a mall. Somebody might call you on it. I went around all this last week, and the only time I put it on was going into the mall near me, and I put it down under my chin, and nobody said a word. Nobody did before either, but nobody's saying anything. What surprises me is half the people out walking around still wearing the mask, and half them walking around still wear it too low to be doing anything. So I just don't get it. Okay, you guys know how much I love the mayor of Armenia. I think he's awesome. I think he works very hard for the people of Armenia, unlike a typical situation where they kind of kick back and, you know, go to dinners from rich people. He's clearly not like that, and there's always something going on. Well, the medical in the south of Armenia has not been on par to the medical in the north part. In the north, you got everything. It's great medical up here on every street corner. It's a good situation. In the south, it's been hampered by, well, for example, incubators for newborns. They had little to none. There's just a lot of equipment that they've been short on down there. And the mayor, over the last couple of years, has managed to put about $2.5 million in upgrading the medical in the south. And it was just in the news. I noticed it today. It was a few days ago. He actually has been working with Japan through the embassy here, and got them to contribute $65,000 in some small equipment, which is it's very meaningful. It's a huge boost. Some of the things are things they just haven't had. So it's good to see a guy do the job he was elected for, but he actually does. Okay. Almost to the surprise, but first, I'm going to talk about the video that I did last week, early this week. I don't remember, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days ago, somewhere in there, about possibly getting this place, for you guys to have a place to stay. It's gorgeous, and swimming pool and all of that. And I solicited advice. And usually I'll solicit advice, and I'll get a whole bunch of things that I've already considered, hoping to be some little nugget. And that's why I do it. You know, maybe there's something I hadn't thought about. And so I look for that. And this was no different, except I didn't get any of those nuggets. What I got was a whole bunch of misconceptions. So I think maybe a cross of maybe I wasn't real clear, but because I wasn't giving a lot of specifics because I wasn't at that point yet. But also people tend to hear what they want to hear, what their experience is. So I appreciate all the feedback. I got over 100 emails, a massive amount. I think I managed to read everyone. I don't think I was able to reply to most of them. But I'll just cover some highlights just so you know. I am going out there after this is over and take a look at a few things. But first of all, it's not for sale. I mean, it's not for sale at all. It was offered to me to rent. So the long-term concern of bankruptcy and I could lose everything, and it's not going to be like that. If for some reason something doesn't work out, I can essentially, with a loss, but walk away from it. Wouldn't want to do that. I'm not used to losing, but there's that. Another one is, but if you do that, isn't that contrary to what you've said? Because right now you don't want people more than 2 or 3 days around you, and won't it drive you crazy? Won't you be sacrificing that peace and tranquility that you enjoy? And I get where you're coming from, but you got to see what we're talking about. This is a big place. It's got 6 bedrooms. It's got 3 living rooms. So, if you've got a bedroom and a bathroom and a living room kind of separated from the rest, because it's a very large place, separated from the rest, then you just go in your, part of it, and it's no worse than living next door, to another apartment or something. So, looking at it that way, it's really not that big a deal. And someone mentioned, there was only one person that mentioned this, but it made me laugh. And they said, well, isn't it going to be difficult to entertain people? And it's like, no, I have no intention of entertaining people. I'm not in the entertainment business, and I'm not going to be doing that. They just would go and have a place to stay. What else? It wouldn't just be day rentals. Some people might say, hey, it's a great place. It's near a lot of things I'm interested in, and maybe I want to rent it month by month, or maybe I want to rent it for 6 months or something like that. They say, well, aren't you isolated? You always say you don't go out and live on a farm. And that was something that came up a lot. People kept calling it a farm. And it's not. It's not isolated, and it's not on a farm. It's in a complex with 14 villas together that share administration, security. Groundskeeper is paid, takes care of the pool, all of those things. So, and it's also 1 block away from a little town, a pueblo, a little village. It's not big. There's not a lot going on, but it's got some places to eat. It's got a little supermarket, things like that. And a block's not too far to go. However, it's a road from Armenia that goes to Country Club one way and Coffee Park the other way. It comes right through that little town. So you have buses that run about every half an hour. So you could jump a bus and go up to Armenia. It's not that far. And there's taxis. Now, there's not, big lines of taxis, but taxis are available. Plus once you're out there, you could, make arrangements. And if I did go out there, I would do it with a car. And if there are people that were staying there, I would probably set up something like, okay, 9 o'clock in the morning, every morning that you're here, I'll drive in Armenia, drop you off. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll go back and pick you up. Something along those lines. So that's not really an option. So is it the same as being right next to, a lot of things that I love, the restaurants and all that? No, it's not the same, obviously. On the other hand, life is a give and take, and to live in a beautiful setting like that, near some other things. I don't mind the change of pace. It's pretty awesome. And it is a sought after area in Colombia. Now, I've mentioned before, the number one vacation place within Colombia is San Andreas. And it's gorgeous. I've been there. There's a reason for it. But the number two is right here in Quindío. And the focus of that is right where this is located. And there's not a million places like it down there. There's a fair amount, but not enough. And in busy times of the year, you can't find a place down there. Now, it's not that I'm catering to that, but what I'm saying is it's not so out of the way and isolated as a lot of people think. You don't know the area very well, then you're going to think these certain things, but I'm aware of all of these things, but it is part of my equation. I haven't made a decision yet. So we'll see. And the last thing that was a common point that was brought up is you always say it's so hot down there. And yes, when I did the country club video, hotter than hell. Most of the time I go to the airport, it's hotter than hell. Now, there's a couple things to it. If you're actually out in the sun anywhere down here, it's hotter than hell. So I'm not hedging on that because it is hotter down there. However, this villa is actually located in the midst of this forested area. And the compound itself is really forested. But it's landscape, but there's trees all over, there's gardens, there's flowers. And whenever you have that kind of shade and you have that kind of tree around you, that circulates moisture and that creates breezes. And so when you have that kind of thing, it can be warm, but it's comfortable. So that's not really a concern. Even the house itself, it looks like, a traditional build, but if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually steel beams. It's got a steel insulated roof. I mean steel as in what you would get in the United States on a high-end house. I don't mean steel like just slabs of tin. So, I mean, it's well insulated from that kind of situation where it's going to get too hot in the house, for example. So I hear you. I appreciate all those comments. I solicited them, and I'm glad they came. But I did want to respond because these were all things that I had thought about myself. They're good points. Is it something I could tolerate? So I haven't made a decision. I actually am going to try to make a decision this week. And I want to thank you. I had about 10 people say, hey, they want to be involved in that. And there's one guy in particular that I know pretty well. And I think it might be a good situation for both of us. So we'll see. I don't know yet. All right, let me get to these questions and then we'll get to the surprise. Or comments, I should say. Fruit is a fortune here now. Well, I don't know if it's a fortune, but yeah, things are going up. Everything I said in December, it's not true now. So people watch in December, they're going to say, oh, you lied to us. No, things change. And now I'm telling you how it is at this point in time. Just paid $3.87 for gas, upstate New York. Yeah, about $1.50 more. El Centro, Monster El Muerzo, 8,500. Yeah, you're going to still find those pockets. And again, I'm not saying that everything is the same. I'm trying to give a general impression. Places that I knew were 8,000 to 10,000 that are now at 15,000. I'm not saying that they're not all priced the same. You always could find a few places that are 6,500 and you could pay 12, 15,000 before, a couple of years ago. And you still get a range. But to compare it, I looked at places that I knew were 8,000 to 10,000 and I'm seeing now that they're 15,000. Good morning from Northern Communist California. Good morning. 200 a month. One person, not sure what that is. Unrelated to the conversation, but I want to thank you for your military service while in the U.S. Marines. It's nice to hear you were in helicopter operations. Distant memory. Is July peak holiday time and can deal if not when? Well, the major holiday time is December and the first part of January. That's the biggie. Your current lease is my largest concern. If it's not a problem, it's workable. I know how to break leases, so that's not really a concern for me. I kind of set myself up going in just in case. Yeah, I know you got a contract and you think it would be unbreakable, but there's ways to do certain things. I paid $1,400 for a bag of red apples. I'm guessing they were imported. It could very well have been. They grow apples here, but they also import a lot. They import pears, oranges, but they also have a lot of their own things. I'm glad to see that they're actually growing those big, fat, juicy blueberries in Colombia these days. Used to be that they were all imported. Now sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Okay, so I told you I got a surprise for you, and I have to get ready for the surprise. So hold on a minute. I'm going to disappear for about a minute, and then I'll be back with the surprise. Okay.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. You're welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be alive.
Surprise! Here we go. Now, to begin, she painted that for me for my birthday. And so I thought I would put it up. It's been on the wall of my bedroom, and it's just kind of a thing through my whole life. And I don't know. She just said, hey, I'll paint that for you. And she did, and it's pretty awesome. And it's her first paint.
It was my first.
Like not watercolor drawing or something, actual painter's paint on a canvas. So that's pretty cool. Colombia still required COVID test for flying in. No, it depends. They're still requiring the vaccine thing, but what's this? Any signs of Colombia? I don't get it. Restrictions, or are they still believe in the secret killer virus? It's been easing off. It hasn't really been fierce anyway. I mean, you've had more things to get into Colombia. Once you're here, it hasn't been really much of an issue. Great painting. Who is your special guest? So if you don't know who this person is, this is Alejandra. She helps me with people that are here. And have anything to say?
Hi guys, nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. I'm here after a while time. I have to say thank you for those people who are sending me some collaboration. Thank you so much. It helped me a lot. And here we are.
Happy birthday. Well, she didn't just paint it. That was back in October. But thanks for the late birthday, and thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. Back to Medellin this Friday for 8 days, and glad the outside mask thing is gone. I go for 10 years in Medellin, most dangerous now since I started. Yeah, I won't disagree with that. Medellin is kind of going downhill. We seem to be almost on an opposite trend because there's a lot of effort that's been put in. But every city has its dangerous moments everywhere in the world, and always keep that in mind. There is nothing unique or special about being in Colombia that makes it more or less dangerous than anywhere else, with the exception of a couple areas along the border where the ELN are next to Venezuela and where the FARC is next to Ecuador. But those, you would never have any reason to go there you know, unless you're trying to find trouble. So, like any city, there's areas that you know not to go into. The difference is this is a country, you don't know this country, and so you're not sure. But it's real simple. Ask a taxi or ask anybody, and they'll tell you. People are very helpful. You know, it's like, what areas should I not go into? Or is it okay if I go over here? Didn't you have something where somebody told you at the bus station to go somewhere that was unsafe, or was that?
Yeah. The first time I was here in Armenia, I was 1 week. I was trying to get back to Bogota, and I was walking through the terminal place, no?
Where the bus terminal is.
Yeah. And in one place, I was walking, and I found, actually, a police girl found me, and she asked me, what the hell are you doing here? If you pass through that way, they are going to kill you, literally, that's what he said me. And I was, okay, where did you go? She gave me the directions. And then after some minutes, she found me again. She was looking for me in his car to take me to the terminal place. So
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was bad place. I was walking. It was pretty normal for me. But yeah, that was what she told me.
Yeah, and that's typical in the United States. If you go to a place you're not familiar with, you've never been before, and you're walking around, you could walk into an area that you shouldn't be. You know, so there's, you know, people really. First thing people say, is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? Well, it's as safe as anywhere, safer than most. But you know, you gotta be smart about it.
But actually, for me, Armenia is pretty safe. It's a safe place. I know where I have not to go, so I can just walk pretty normal everywhere.
Yeah, once you know, it's pretty simple. Have you spoken about Puerto Colombia Development Project? I have not. Perhaps talk about crime and safety in places like Medellin versus Armenia. Lots of chatter on crime. It's real simple. There's no real change in crime here. You get your occasional thing, but it's relatively safe. How is the pizza business? Inflation has put her out of business.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the situation get better to start over. But maybe I keep doing it. But now it's no way.
She right now, because things are in flux, she would lose money on every pizza made. It's, you know, it's how do property taxes work in Colombia? Is it like the US? No, they're very, very, very low. The guy that's got that horse ranch I did the video on, that's about 4 square miles and amazing, gorgeous house with swimming pools and movie stars, and it's just all those miles of orchards and all of that, and he pays a couple $100 a month in tax. As a matter of fact, when we were talking about it, he actually laughed out loud about it. He thinks it's way too low. He thinks he should be paying more tax. Can you elaborate on Manizales? I hear the weather is not that great. What are the pros and cons? Yeah, I can, but we're gonna kind of move through things today because I've got my guest here, and she's never been to Manizales, and you know, I'm trying to think of how I can take her one of these days to show her around, because Manizales is an awesome place. It's my favorite city. I live there, and there's a way to manage the hills. It does rain whenever it feels like we're here. There tends to be more of a pattern. And I found that kind of annoying because I like how it is here. But that said, if I'm in Armenia because of my personal history and reasons, my personality. But most people, I honestly believe, would probably prefer living in Manizales. The cost of living is probably a little bit higher there, but there's also a lot more to it. They're very different. Colombia is unique with scopolamine. No, it is not. Whoops, there. It is not at all. As a matter of fact, it was a big issue in Ecuador when I was living there. It is an issue in Medellin and in Bogota, and it's not exclusive to, but it's almost exclusive to guys that are wide-eyed and new off the airplane that are out thinking they're going to get drugs and chicks, and they're alone, and they go in a bar, and here's a guy, he's 50 years old and, you know, a little worse for wear, and he's this, you know, 22-year-old beauty walks up to him, and for some reason he's convinced that she really loves him. And he thinks, oh, I can't believe I'm so lucky. And next thing you know, he wakes up in his hotel room with all his stuff gone. You know, it's one of those things about don't be stupid. I mean, seriously, that's just stupid. It's, you know, if you want to have a 22-year-old girlfriend, it's not hard to do, but you're not going to find her in a bar, and it's not going to be like in 2 minutes. Yeah. You know, it's like your warning bells should be going off. Think with this one. In Bogota, I swear people eat and sleep with a mask on. Look at you crazy if you're not wearing it.
Maybe, but already the president and also Claudia Lopez, the mayor of Bogota, tell us about to don't have more any mask anymore.
Now,
the outsiders.
Now, before you came to Armenia, that was in the beginning when everybody thought that was helpful, so everybody was wearing it then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and here was the same. But since last fall here in Armenia, you'll see people wearing it, but almost everybody wears it. Oh, we got one here. Show you how they wear it. Okay, I'm wearing, true or no? This is how people wear their mask here. Sometimes they'll do this. You don't see very often like this. You'll see like this. I'm wearing my mask. And that
What is your mask here?
it's true though, right? I mean, that's what people do. And when I went into the mall the other day, I told you that that was when I put it on. That's how I wore it. I wore it here. I walked in with it down here. I was just kind of curious if there would be any reaction, because there used to be security at the entrances of the malls, and they're not there anymore. So nobody really cares. Pretty much everybody knows it's a farce. They're just letting it fade away. Would you happen to know if Santa Marta is near the riskier areas you mentioned? Well, no, it's not near those, but I think if you're looking at, all right, what are the effects of crime, and what is the root cause of most crime? It's poverty. It's not necessarily, it's not exclusive, but it tends to be one of the root causes. And if you look at a place like Cartagena with a huge population, but it's focused primarily on tourists, and so tourist industry gets that money for the most part, you got a lot of poverty in Cartagena. You know, Cartagena, while it's fascinating and the fort is gorgeous, the old Spanish area, but the rest of the city is butt ugly. It's a lot of poverty. Therefore, you know, hang on to your phone, don't go out with a wallet, be careful, you know, to be aware of that. And Santa Marta is kind of similar. Well, I probably shouldn't say that. Santa Marta is a city that has its nice area, has its places to keep away from. Maybe because it's closer to the coast, a little more than some places, like Bucaramanga, for example, that's nowhere near the coast. And it's a place that's more like here. You got a few barrios you stay away from, but all the rest of it is fine. Bogota is huge. How many people? What is it, 15 million or something?
8 millions. Almost 9 million.
9 million. So that's huge. That's a lot of people. and there's areas that you should not go to. And it doesn't, and people that live there, they're perfectly safe, but you don't live there. So you go into a neighborhood where nobody knows you, then their conscience is not going to be as bothered if they rob you, for example. But if it's somebody, if it's their neighbor, they're not going to go rob their neighbor, or they'd have to move out. So, there's places in Bogota you have to stay away from, but there's also places in Bogota, as much as I don't like Bogota, there are places that are very nice to go and that are safe. I've been to, last time I was there, I was out about 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. And I just went out and I started walking around. It was over where, not too far from the embassy. And there's a lot of restaurants and clubs and.
Yeah, because it's like more tourist place.
Yeah, so I'm walking around 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was perfectly fine. I know that was probably a stupid thing to do, but I also was aware of the area I was in, and I'm paying attention. But when you do videos, sometimes you get curious, and anyway.
Even when I was in Cartagena, the hostel I rented, it was in a bad place, in a bad barrio, but the hostel was good either way.
Yeah.
So if you don't know the place, you can figure out many things, like it's good or it's not.
Yeah, you got to be careful, but ask other people. People will tell you.
Yeah, they saw me and they say, just be careful over here. And I say, no, I'm just going to my hostel, it's right there, 2 blocks. But the barrio was dangerous a little bit.
So we didn't really talk about this, but do you agree with how I saw Cartagena? Like the tourist near the water is nice, but the rest is really a lot of poverty, right?
It is.
And it's more poverty. I think there's more poverty in Cartagena than even Bogota with all those people. But barrio to barrio, it doesn't matter. Medellin, if you go to a poor barrio, those are the same in whatever city. And it's just a matter of, did somebody decide to set up some crime operation? These guys that go to Medellin and they want the girls, okay, whatever. But you also have guys that go there and think, I'm going to buy drugs, I'm buying drugs. And all they're doing is feeding into the destruction of this country. That's a poison in this country. And, you're supporting criminals. I'm not saying don't do drugs, I could care less. But what I am saying is that when you go to another country and you get involved in criminal operations, you're supporting crime in those countries. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not crazy, right? Well, maybe I am.
A little.
Good morning. I'm late. Bad connection this morning. Sorry to hear that, Mike, but we'll see you in the morning. Lauren's been right all along. Coffee X is probably the only safe and reasonable part of Colombia. Well, it certainly is a relatively safe part of Colombia. There are other areas that are safe. Like I said, Bucaramanga is mostly safe. Richest country in Colombia. Good morning, Senorita Bogota.
Good morning, ma. What about telling you about the ñ in senorita? Remember, ñ. I have something for you, Mike. See you tomorrow.
Matthew, Pereira is like Medellin with more caution needed. Yeah, Pereira has its issues. I think they've been working to clean it up. I was actually there yesterday, right?
What?
In Pereira. I was there yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
And some of the issues around Bolivar Park that have been going on for the last couple of years, it was better. It was an improvement. It wasn't great, but there was an improvement there. And I'm really happy to see that. I got kind of a love-hate thing that goes on with Pereira, and there's some great areas and things, but I'm not fond of the climate. They don't have that many green spaces like Manizales and Armenia do. I mean, in Armenia, every couple blocks you get a little green area, right? I mean, you love that about Armenia. In Pereira, it's like concrete. it's all paved, it's all concrete. And that contributes to the temperature. So, it kind of sits down with the mountains around it, and you don't have that breeze effect, and you've got a lot of concrete. And so when I talk about Pereira, it's being hot, it's because of those things. So it just is not, you go out and walk around, it's just not that great. The heat is kind of draining, where in Armenia, you can go out and walk around, and there's so much breeze and trees and things like that it's refreshing.
I kind of like it though, Pereira.
I know she fell in love with it yesterday, but that was only like 2 blocks.
I love 2 blocks.
Yeah, those 2 blocks are not bad. I've walking the streets of Pereira, 3 a.m. with no problems. A lot of police in the streets. That's true. And again, it depends. Like, applies there to everywhere. It really depends on where you are and where you're walking. I also know that there's places in Pereira where you won't walk out if you walk in 3 a.m. Like, again, all cities. It's not unique to here. And a lot of these things, understand that, my opinion is just my opinion. There's no right or wrong to it. So, it's, if you want to love Pereira, go for it. I lived there. I lived there for a period of time. And I went in with an open mind. I had no axe to grind either way, and decided, there was a reason I was leaving every weekend when my time was free, and I was coming over to Quindío. But again, that's me. Right? Pereira seemed like any other city, some shadier areas than other. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Don, good morning. Sorry I'm late. We'll think of a punishment for you. I don't know right now. You buying that house? No, it's not for sale. I was never planning to buy it. It was a offer to rent situation. George, thank you. Much appreciated. Contributions are awesome. Buenas. Oh, that's for you.
Buenos días. Hey. How are you?
You enhance coffee time.
What is enhance?
You make it better.
Okay, thank you. I know.
And anything would make it better. What's scary is all the young gringo men in Facebook groups blindly charging into Medellin, Indeed for drugs, and Tinder girls. And these young bucks don't want to listen to reason. No, I mean, they're idiots. They think they're invincible, and that's what's fueling the issue that goes on there. Everybody's not like that, but you have this really, particularly over the last few years, it's become known in younger circles as a place to go and buy drugs. Is Bogota still getting a metro train?
Yeah.
Do you think it will make the transportation or traffic better?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. Maybe, yeah, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, a lot of times these transport projects, like the gondola in Pereira, it was sold as it was going to help reduce traffic. Well, it's up and running, and the traffic hasn't changed one bit. And I don't know how anybody thought that one gondola that runs every couple minutes with 4 people in it is going to really have any kind of effect on transport. It has more to do with saying, my city has a gondola. It was like in Cuenca, when they built the Tranvia, and, it took all those years, with several years extra. The final budget ended up being double what it was initially. They had to go back and tear out concrete and rebuild it because it was inferior. You had all these businesses were put out of business, and the thing is, the people of the city didn't even want it. They would have been happy to just get some new efficient buses, but it was forced on them. And now it's nice they got the Tranvia, but it's not having the effect that they said it would. You still have traffic and you still have pollution. So these are vanity projects, and in Bogota, I don't know. We'll see.
No, if you don't know, at the beginning it was in 2001 that the Transmilenio was open, and everybody was thinking, "Oh, it's going to be super." Blah, 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 like many ideas we have, but with the time, it gets the worst transportation we have, and it's pretty very expensive. So I don't know what's going to be with the train, metro train.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, you get burned a couple times, and that's a good example. You know, it was supposed to be something, and it turned out to be the exact opposite. There's so much of this vanity project that goes on everywhere. Again, it's not unique to Colombia for sure. It's for you.
AA. The problem is the inflation is don't help me too much to make it. So everything is pretty expensive. People is going to prefer to make things at home, right? So I don't want to lose my money. I just want to wait until the situation gets better to start over. But any case, if you want, I can make it for you.
Chris, thank you. And Matthew, thank you. I appreciate it. And we've got, what's this? Where did that go? I really need my new glasses. There's one. What's that?
No, I was working there actually in Sonate in Bogota. One of the good places to make a business.
And I agree with the mega cable seeming more like a tourist attraction versus actually helping transportation. It seemed to not be running too often as well. Yeah, I'm glad you reinforce it. I swear I don't make this stuff up when I come on here. I actually really do try to think out things before I say it. And if I don't, I tell you that. Who's the cool chick with all the tattoos? I don't know any cool chick with tattoos. I know Alejandra.
Cool chick, what does that mean?
Like.
Oh, chick.
Yeah, like chica.
It's me.
Suave. Fat boy, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the contribution. I love that Hawaiian pizza, Alejandra. Thanks again.
See?
Yeah.
You have to try. Thank you, Heidi Shirley.
Well, there's a fair number of people in this world that have no taste. I tell her all the time.
You have no taste.
It's a crime. Pineapple on a pizza is a crime.
It's not.
It's absolutely
delicious. Look
disgusting.
at him. He's just saying, I love it.
And the number
Pretty
one
good.
popular pizza in Armenia is pineapple.
Have you ever tried my pizza? Hawaiian pizza? No. So you have not to.
Well, I've tried pineapple.
You try mine?
No.
Boom.
I don't eat dog poop either. I don't have to try it.
Nope. La chica muy bacana. Gracias, NB90.
Alejandra, try to wear a hat.
I have one actually.
Yeah, grab it.
There, I'm here. Choo-doo. I bought it in Cartagena.
Somebody had a hat fetish. Hola, Senor Lauren Alejandra.
Señor Loren Alejandra.
I guess we're attached. I don't like pineapple on bread. Just kidding. I'm sure the Hawaiian pizza is delicious. It's not. It's disgusting. It's nasty.
It's not.
It's criminal.
Shut up.
There should be laws
It's
against
criminal.
it. Hawaiian pizza is good.
Thank you, everyone, to support my Hawaiian pizza.
They should say heroin is illegal, cocaine is illegal, Hawaiian pizzas are illegal.
Once before here in Bogota,
Yeah, you're part of the Hawaiian
wait a
pizza
minute.
cartel.
it was the empanada was illegal. The empanada, it was a guy eating empanada and the police take him just because he was eating empanada. So it was many of jokings about it, many funny pictures about that. Remember that. That was funny.
Why was it illegal?
I don't know what happened that day with this police.
And so it became a lot of memes.
Crazy. So now it was funny to make everybody was talking, okay, I'm going to make the cartel empanadas.
Let's see. Whenever I'm pineapple. Alejandra is a nice addition. I have to admit, I would never try pineapple on pizza before. I was stubborn, but now I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it reminds me of people wearing masks. How is the quality of the Asian, Japanese, Chinese restaurants in Quindío region? Not great. It depends. I mean, first of all, you have to think that none of that food is going to be authentic. It's going to be Colombian version of Chinese, Japanese. Just like in the US, you go to a Chinese restaurant. I've been to China and to Taiwan, and rarely do you find a restaurant in the United States that has that kind of food. They have Americanized. Well, here you have Colombianized Asian food. So it may not be what you expect, but very often it's still good. They have sushi. Most of the sushi is crap. There's a couple places that is quite good. Food in general in this region is, I would say it's closer to average than, special. It's closer to average. If you're a foodie, Manizales probably going to be better for you. But having said that, that doesn't mean if you can find really good food of whatever you want, but it does take a little looking. Like I said, in the city of Armenia, it's not that big. It's under 300,000 people, and you really only find sushi mostly in the north. So there's only 7 or 8 places that I'm aware of that sell sushi, and there's only 1 or 2 that's reasonably good. It's a function of being small. If you want, the more population you have, the better quality food you're going to find. So if you go to Bogota, you might find hundreds and hundreds of top-notch restaurants. If you come to Armenia, you might only find dozens and dozens. So keep that in mind. So you have to look for it. That's for you.
Alejandra Parcela, que cuca en esto. Hola Juan, tengo una pregunta. ¿Qué es cuca para ustedes? ¿De dónde eres? Cuca suena algo muy diferente para mí. ¿Cómo estás?
Lauren's hat will look better on you. Yeah, but it's my hat.
Nothing I don't want.
And I have cooties, so I have pulgas.
You.
Yeah. On the finca, not a finca. Will it come equipped? Will Alexa be cooking? Also, does it come with a Willys? Okay, a jokester. None of that's true. You should have him try Hawaiian pizza live next Sunday. Yeah, watch me vomit on. I can't. Can't do it. I always thought the painting behind you was of Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose. Pineapple and pizza is keeping it hot during delivery in sub-zero countries like mine, Finland. It's not there for taste. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Or a layer of cheese. I mentioned this, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and, different cultures have different tastes. In some cases, when it comes to pizza, the most important thing is the crust. If you don't get the crust right, it's not a pizza. You have other cultures, like Sicily, for example, where the sauce is everything. You've got to get the sauce right. Little things like putting anchovies in the sauce, and it's so important to get the sauce right. In Colombia, they could care less about the crust and the sauce. I mean, they'll use cardboard and ketchup as long as it's got lots of cheese, because all pizza is, for most people here, is a cheese delivery system. If it's got cheese, they love it. Another thing that was in a conversation, we're talking about pastries here, or desserts. And Colombia has, most of the bakeries have their style of desserts. And it's a different flavor palette than European or American. But you go to places like, we were at the Cafe Quindío, the Juan Valdez, they've got cinnamon buns, and they got, different things that you'd be familiar with. But the one thing that was introduced here that spread all over is cheesecake. Anything cheese is going to be a winner. Where are we? Here we are. Never eat sushi located any more than 100 miles from the sea. Real sushi, that is. I guess Alejandra took over the show without talking. Yeah, I know. I figured I like to try typical food as much, but trying to introduce my Colombian hosts to more authentic Asian food. Well, you got to stay in business. If it doesn't cater to their palate, they're not going to come. And so you need to do that. And the U.S. is the same way. Have you been to Tom's restaurant yet? Bet his food is good. I'm going to try to get there this week. I haven't. I was going to go last week, but he was in the process of moving, so I couldn't go on the day I was available to go. But I will get there. And if you want to hear more from her, ask her questions. Lauren and Alejandra have a video in which they eat Asian food there. Yeah, remember that? The fake Chinese place? I did the video, and what did you had the vegetables, and I had the rice. It was okay. It was edible. I'm from the Philippines originally, so my expectation for seafood in Colombia were tempered. That's a good thing. It's some of my favorite seafood you can't get here, like haddock, for example, or king crab legs, with the exception of Price Mart. We're going to Price Mart. There's a small group of us. We're going to Price Mart tomorrow. And one of the things I'm going to look for is haddock. They have it sometimes. Going to check out your Bucaramanga vid. I think there's about 6 of them. What is an area to stay for the first-time visitors with basic Spanish skills? Most everywhere, but on the right side, towards the mountain. Watch the videos, and I show some maps, and I do walk through. I walked through most of that city. It was exhausting, but I got a map showing all the places I walked, and I talk about it there. So there's only, I think, 6 videos, and some are very, like one is about the parks. You can skip that one until the end. So do that. Oh, I did a video in the hotel I stayed too. It was a very good hotel, and at the time, price was quite reasonable. Alejandro, for now on, you got to be part of the coffee time every Sunday. We'll do. Oh no. Oh no, drive me crazy. She's always yelling at me. She's bad to me. I even have a little song now called Mala Chica, Mala Chica, Mala Chica, Mala Chica, Mala Chica, Mala Chica, Mala Chica.
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, well, she's so bad to me. Alejandra, are you originally from Armenia? What's your favorite place in Colombia?
No, I'm from Bogota. But my great-grandmother is from Armenia. So I want to come here to see which is my favorite place in Colombia. I just visited Cartagena, Santa Marta, Barranquilla, and Armenia, and my favorite was Santa Marta. I really love it.
I've never been to Barranquilla.
Never?
No.
It's nice, but it's pretty hot for me.
But of the other ones you mentioned, Santa Marta's
Santa Marta, I
got some
love it.
nice things.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Not meant to joke. Will Coffee Time Resort have a kitchen? Of course, every house has a kitchen. Have you been to Uruguay? No. If so, why not living in Uruguay? Well, because I wanted to live here. Uruguay is kind of expensive, but I admire that country a lot. It's one of the longest republics in history. It's been very stable.
Sorry.
There's this international happiness index, and they're always at the top of it. I appreciate the stability of that country, but it's more expensive than Chile, and Chile's kind of, you know, got a pretty good cost to live there. So, and I'm not a fan of winter. And in Uruguay, you have your seasons, and you've got some pretty cold, bitter days. So I'm not really into that. She have to be on the show, Lauren. What?
Okay. No sé, it's your show, not mine. So you decide. They want me. They love me.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Did you say that one? Not meant to joke. With the coffee time resort have a kitchen?
Yeah. Yep, I did. Okay, it's been an hour. That's usually when we end, and we're gonna go out and take a look at that place. So, last call for questions, and then we'll get going. In the meantime, thank you, Fat Boy on a Diet. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, George. Thank you, HD Chillin. Thank you, and Yuka. Thank you. Alejandra, what do you like about Santa Marta? Is it too hot?
No, it wasn't too hot. I was first in Cartagena.
Sometimes it's too hot. Go ahead.
And then I went to Santa Marta, and it's hot, it is, but it's not too much as Cartagena.
Yeah.
There is many beaches. Beaches, you say, or beaches?
You mean like
Playas.
women or beaches?
Beaches. Okay, I always confuse those words. Sorry. And I kind of like it. I was there.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
I just paid 18,000 the night on the hostel I was staying.
Wow.
It was nothing. So I'm going to recommend that hostel. It's called Rocadura.
I would
love it.
much rather go to Santa Marta than Cartagena. I don't ever want to go back to Cartagena. The only thing I found interesting was the Spanish fort.
Also, I like it there, the downtown, because it's old, and I like the old downtowns there because they keep the culture.
But sadly, it's
In Bogota,
In
it's only that the
Cartagena.
downtown is La Candelaria. It keeps a little bit of it, but Cartagena it has more old constructions.
what part of Colombia has the best empanadas? I think Medellin has the best empanadas. We were just talking yesterday about empanadas. It's funny, but where the places you've been in Colombia, who has the best empanadas?
You have to try, you have to find, because
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
Bogota, I tried many empanadas in different places. No one's take me hot too much. It was pretty close to the Zona T. I was working. I found a good empanadas. And here in Armenia, no boy.
I'm going to show you the
No.
good empanadas, but you need to know where they are. She hasn't been here very long. But sadly, there's a lot of bad empanadas out there in Armenia and other
Yeah.
places.
The ones I tried,
Now, the one you had in Paredes, she went crazy over. Now, this is what they're supposed to be. This was yesterday. So this is so good.
Yeah, that was better than here. Here, no. Maybe if you make it by your own.
The best are, yeah, I was just gonna say that best are homemade. I make great empanadas, and homemade empanadas are killer. I agree with her that you walk around and you buy something on the street and it should be good, and very often it's not. Sometimes they even cooked it the day before. You know, you can tell they're just old, they don't want to throw it away. And it's sad. And even worse than that are arepas. I mean, it's almost like it's almost impossible to find good arepas anymore everywhere, because they buy the cheap factory made ones, and almost nobody's making them by hand anymore. If I want a good arepa, I make it in my own kitchen. Then I know it's going to be good. Best empanadas, Venezuela. Best empanadas are Abuela. Next time I expect to see you in coffee time. Everyone wants you there. Not everyone. I'd take Venezuelan arepas over Colombian all day.
Bueno.
Okay.
I tried Venezuelan arepas. It was, no, Venezuelan empanadas. No, I don't like it.
You know, it all depends.
All depends on how to make it.
Now, when it comes to empanadas, I love Colombian empanadas, generically speaking. When I was in Ecuador, they use mostly the Chilean version. They use the harina trigo, and it's like pie crust. I really don't like those. I like the Colombian, which is a cornmeal, and that's what I love. I love homemade arepas for breakfast.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
And cheaper.
And they're so easy to make.
Yeah.
It only takes a few minutes. And you can get creative with them. Like sometimes I'll take a can of corn and I'll put some of the sweet corn in the arepa. Oh, it's so good. You can put little pieces of bacon in it. You can be very creative with it. And the Venezuelan arepa he's talking about, they're kind of known for this, but they have them here in Colombia too. But they'll take an arepa, make it fatter, and they'll slice it, and they'll put cheese and meat, and they'll put stuffing in it. But we have that here also.
When I make arepas, I put cheese inside and eggs.
Yeah.
And a little butter.
Yeah, so you can do whatever you want with it, and it's not really unique to. But the corn style arepa is here, and as you move to the west of South America, then you get the pie crust stuff, and it's just not very good. Where are the tamales in Armenia? Well, here they're called tamal, right?
Yeah, try tamale here either.
And they make them, it's kind of different here. Well, you see, you don't know where to buy these things. You need to ask me. But they're huge here. They're huge. And they stuff them with egg and pork and chicken. You get a big chicken drumstick in it. And you have all these things in there, and some peas. And there's a couple different kinds depending on the dough. Some use the what is it, tolonaise? The pork rice they'll stuff it with. Not my favorite, but I do enjoy it every so often, every month or two. Very cheap. You know, it's like I defy you to try to eat one in one sitting. And I don't know.
Tamales is one of my favorite breakfasts, but here I tried just 2 places. So that was enough for me to know more Armenian tamales. They are not the way we make it in Bogota.
Well, that could be. Doesn't mean it's not good, but you need to know where to get the food. That's the thing. So how far are you to making the decision on the coffee time? No finca. It's not a finca. It's not a farm at all. It's far from a farm.
It's campestre.
It's, but I don't know. I'm going to try to decide this week. Best tamales in Armenia. I don't remember the name of the place. It's in my phone. I could try to look it up later and shoot me off an email. All right, we got to go. It's time to go. I think we'll end it here. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for all that you do. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome for inviting me.
And ciao.
Bye, guys. See you then.